welcome back.
Welcome. Episode 3.
Episode 3.
How do you feel, Bria?
I mean, I'm not going to lie, this morning has been pretty much of a shit show.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, I feel like we've tried to, have a conversation several times today, and it's just not working.
Yeah, we keep getting interrupted over and over and over again.
I know, which is really funny. So, we wanted to talk about communication today, and I think that just kind of goes spot on.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we were talking about how people have been surprised at how unfiltered our episodes have been so far, and that's the point. It's in the title.
Being unfiltered.
And I just, I hope that over time, maybe we touch on a subject that someone's having a tough time within their own life, or someone can relate to something we're saying, and maybe we help them figure out the words that they're trying to, get to and can't get on their own. And, we help because that's kind of our day job. We're therapists.
Yeah. So, and also, just even if they don't, try to find the words, but at least they know that other people have gone through it, or it happens to other people. Because I think a lot of, especially in our community, a lot of people don't talk about real life issues, so you can feel very isolated.
Majority of people. And that's a big thing. That's that was my main motivation for writing my kids' book, because I grew up not seeing brown people. And I feel and now with, whether it's, you believe in go with more the pros or the cons, but we see so much diversity in entertainment now. We see people of, all walks of life, all color, races, sexuality preferences. See everybody on the TV now. We see everybody in their movies, so we can really relate to. We have Pakistani superheroes, Miss Marvel. We have, Asian, Chinese superheroes with Simile. I mean, we have everyone is now slowly getting more and more represented, and I feel that really touches on the aloneness that people feel when they're going through tough times, because whether they're going through a tough time and getting married, or getting out of a marriage, or a breakup, or something with work, something with friend, anxiety, depression, whatever it is, if you see someone you relate to, then it helps. You don't feel alone.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you're right, there's so much more diversity in media these days that it's you see somebody that looks like you or has a similar story, but I still think talking about stuff is so much harder. Especially in our culture, I think there are so many different taboo topics, but even just when you talk about communicating, people communicate so differently.
Yeah.
We communicate differently.
We communicate very differently. Very, very differently.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that kind of goes into a topic of I don't know for you, but for me, communicating my feelings is very hard.
For me, it's extremely hard. I always get told, for someone who does this for a living, how can you be so bad at communicating? And I just, we were laughing at that earlier, because those who can't teach, because I'm so bad at communicating in all of my relationships with my family, with friends, with, I'm just really bad at communicating my feelings. And I don't know. It's a work in progress.
It is a work in progress, but it's so... I used to hate when people said that comment, how can you do this for a living, but you have an issue with it? It used to make me so angry, but it's... I think it's a lot harder when you have so many... You're constantly thinking about, okay, is this the right way of saying it? Or, why is that feeling valid? You're battling these thoughts in your head, and I think both of us have had relationships, friendships, whatever ships with people that have told us our voice really doesn't matter. Yeah. And so finding that way of communicating your feelings is really hard, especially when you've been through things like that.
Yeah.
But I think now I went from not being able to communicate anything to maybe over communicating. And I think that's just
compensate.
Because not compensate, but it's more this past year I've done so much work on myself to learn to communicate that now I'm well, if I have a feeling, I'm going to say my feeling.
Yeah. And I see that now. I definitely have noticed that. And I think that's a fantastic thing to be. I mean, of course, people can, be oh, it's too much drama or too many emotions, but it's what's the opposite? That what you prefer? You want me to keep everything balled up inside? Because hello, I did that for 38 years. I
Yeah.
bottled everything up inside, and it comes out as extreme anxiety, like my crippling anxiety, my constant anger. It's a lot, and it affects everybody that I care about in my life. And so I try very hard to work on myself on it, but with it on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with it on it. Yeah, no, I mean, that's really fun that you say like yours manifests as like anxiety and anger. Mine manifests as just like straight up anxiety. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
Yeah.
But like that, I guess like that goes into the whole communication style.
Yeah.
It's like you're very like blunt.
Am I?
Yeah. And I
Okay.
sugarcoat everything.
Yeah. You're right. We
Like,
need
you just
to
say-
balance each
yeah,
other
you
out.
just say it how it is, and I'm
I
like,
know, and that's a really
well,
bad thing. I
like-
wish I didn't. I wish I was more filtered
yeah. Well, in some aspects, not on here
in
because
most
you know,
aspects.
unfiltered.
I mean, yeah, definitely not in this podcast, but I feel like in my life, I really do. I wish I was more filtered and more, not guarded, but more cautious of what I say before I say it. But I feel like that's not genuine. That's not like I get very frustrated with the people that like I'm thinking off the top of my head that they're think 2-3 times before they open their mouth, and I just feel like what they're saying is not genuine because they've reworded the words they want to say. So their first thought is what I want to engage with, but now they're putting out this presented form of what they want to be taken as, and I feel it's not authentic and it's not genuine.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, it feels like they filter out so much that it's like, it's like almost like rehearsed.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I see that. I think like now, like I said, I've done a lot of work on myself. So like when I have a feeling, I just kind of say it, but I try to be really like clear about it. And if I'm not clear, I'll go back and be like, let me clarify what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Because I also think like sometimes like when you're in the moment, like when you say something, it may not like translate from your brain to your voice. Like I always say like words mixed in or like some random words and I'm like, okay, that's not what I meant to say.
Yeah.
But when people filter it out so much, it's like it just rehearsed. So I understand what you're saying.
It feels rehearsed. It does. And then that forces me to like put up a front and not be genuine with that person, because then I think, oh, maybe they think I'm, being annoying, or they think I'm too extreme, or it's like, my sisters are always saying like I have a million soapboxes and I'm always getting on them because I'm so passionate about so many things and I can't, retain that or contain that. I can't contain that, and so it's a slippery slope that I'm on.
I can see
That's
that.
my life.
But I don't think it's a bad thing though, because like you're so passionate and you have so many like opinions and you want to communicate what you know to the world and like to your friends and to your family. But I don't think everyone's open to receive the information, or even just like in your relationship, like you and like your husband have different communication styles, right?
Big
like
time.
So like how do you navigate that?
I think the biggest for me personally, and what I've also used in my therapy, is I think there's 2 tools that are, I think, very vital for you to understand in a relationship is the love language of the person you're working with, and not just the one that they want take, but the one that they give, because sometimes those are different. And so those 2 love languages, and then the personality disorder, that, classic personality test where Yusuf and I are complete opposites. He's E and I'm I. He's, P and I'm J. Like he's like, I'm perceptive, he's judgmental. I'm introverted, he's extroverted. So it's very like, we are 4 complete opposites in the personality traits, and our love languages could not be any more different. And I feel that was a big problem in the first few years of my marriage, is because I just could not, no matter how I communicated, he could not understand why I felt the way I felt. And he would call me, like, you're so ungrateful. You have all this that God's given you. And I would say, I'm not ungrateful. I feel like if I was truly ungrateful ever, God wouldn't have given me everything that I have in my life, because he'd be like, you don't deserve it because you're not grateful for it. I've gotten all this because I am grateful. And so I like, it's not ungrateful. It's because you're not loving me the way that I need to be loved.
Yeah.
And I'm clearly not loving you the way that you need to be loved. And so we work on that, and we're trying, and it's getting much, much better. And I feel like that, knowing that, And once I took his personality test for him, I just sat down once because he would not take it, and I was like, hey, you want to just answer, like, I'm just going to ask you some questions off the top of my head. And I filled it.
My husband.
Which was like his greatest worry. One of his main reasons for like not want, he told me like, I didn't want to marry you because I was afraid. He's like, I don't know about therapy. I thought I know you're licensed in hypnotherapy. I thought you were going to like therapize me in my sleep. And I was like, this doesn't work like that. Yeah. But he had no idea. And so we communicated. And we understood each other's personality and how it is so different. And it's like opposites attract. He and I are very different. But we bring out the best and the worst in each other. And I feel like at least now we're communicating better. So,
yeah. I mean, like, I think that's a huge part is like learning your love languages are so important. I think anybody who's in a relationship, like, it should be mandatory to take the love languages quiz because you learn so much. Like, I know for me, like, my love language is, like, quality time, but then also, like, words of affirmation.
Okay.
Like, because I think...
Is it the same giving and receiving, do you think?
No, like, I think, like, I think I give a lot of words of... I like to really show my love, like, with words of affirmation. But then also, like, I do a lot. Like, I love giving gifts. Yeah. But I hate receiving them. Like, I love giving them to people because I think about... I put a lot of thought into maybe not gifts, like more so like greeting cards. Like that's like my thing. Like I love giving greeting cards because it just, I don't know, it's just something I've always done. But
You've never gotten me a greeting card.
Actually, I've never gotten a greeting card.
No, you haven't.
But I text you.
You don't love me.
I don't. I'm just kidding. I love you. I text you a whole lot of words of affirmation.
You do. You're very into words of affirmation.
Yeah, like I really try to like hype people up by embracing like their positives because I think that just I don't know, it's just like I like to be the cheerleader. Yeah. But like what are yours?
I need that quality time. And I think I do acts of service a lot.
Yeah, like, you do a lot of
I'll randomly like cook for my family. I'll randomly like when Yusuf's here, I know like his favorite order from specific, I'll go get it. Like I just am very into acts of service, I think.
That kind of sounds like, I guess, gift too, but like.
But it's not so much as gifts.
Yes, that's the thing. It's not
gift.
Really
it's not about the money. I don't spend them. I mean, I do end up spending money on the things that I do, but it's more like, oh, you know, like.
I guess it is an act of service. Maybe that's what I was trying to describe. Yeah, act of service then.
And it's so important, like you say, knowing that. Like, I remember, like, in parenting, it's so, like, once I realized what my children's educational language was, and then I realized their love language, I think I've gotten much better at being a mother. Yeah. Because I cannot parent that they have 3 completely different languages. And I remember I once asked all 3 of them, I was like, you know, what would you prefer mama to do most? You can have all 3, but the number 1, is it mama makes you food? Is it mama buys you toys? Or is it mama just sits with you and spends time with you? And all 3 had a different answer. Yeah. And then all 3 learned so differently. Like I can write a million words and my son will not retain a single word. But if I just say a word once, he remembers. He has an auditory, learning language. And so he learns auditory. My middle one learns by writing and my youngest one learns by acting and by seeing things. So like it's, that learning that. And I feel like that if you learn that in adults as well, in your relationships with your friends and family, that helps a lot. Because if you like, so in the beginning I was like, why do you not understand to my husband? Like, why do you not understand? Like, I'm spelling it out for you. Yeah. But him, I would have to do it and be like, do you see what I just did? He like, yes. I was like, this is what I want. And then he would understand it. Because I could scream it on top of a mountain and he would never understand. I could show him, he would understand. He physically has to see the example, like my youngest, to be able to be like, okay, now I understand. And so that was his learning language. And I feel like once you know how to communicate with somebody, once you know their love language, like I could give my son a million hugs, but it's not as much as if I just literally just sit next to him and just watching him play Roblox. That will like make his life. But my middle one, she doesn't play with me. She spends no time with me, but I literally like if I just give her a hug, the longest hug ever, she's just so happy. That's all she wants. She wants physical touch. And so it's like, it's hard.
Yeah, it
Communicating
is
is
hard, especially like
hard.
as a parent, but communicating is really hard in
It's
general.
hard. Yeah.
Like when you were saying like when you're sitting next to him, that's what I like.
Quality time.
I don't want to necessarily like talk to you.
Yeah.
But like I just want you to like be like next to me.
Yeah.
Like or like you can do your own thing like you know like watch sports or like whatever. Like I just want you in the same room just so it feels like we're connected. But like I don't necessarily need that communication, like verbal communication.
Yeah.
But I also think I value communication a lot more than I've ever done now that I've done a lot of healing. Like if there's an issue, like I want to talk it out. Before I'd be like, all right, I'm shutting down.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, I want to talk.
Because you're rediscovering your boundaries.
Yeah.
And you're rediscovering how to set those in a very healthy, inoffensive way. And so that requires more communication because if they're not going to read your mind.
Yeah, but I mean like when you get into like a disagreement or like there's an issue, whatever, you don't see eye to eye with like, I don't know, like your family, Yusuf, your sisters, like, do you talk it out or do you shut down?
I shut down. I escape. I literally...
But you avoid it? Do you never talk about it? Is that like normal?
You know, that's my normal, but I don't know if that is normal.
I guess like what is normal? Because I'm thinking now, like when I
It's
get in
relative.
fights with my sisters, like yeah, we don't like go back and talk about it.
No, we don't.
But like if I'm like talking to like somebody like a partner or something, like I want to talk it out.
Well, I think sibling relationships are so different from any other relationship in the world. So I feel like comparing the way I treat my brothers and sisters, I cannot compare how I treat anybody else in the world like that.
I guess that's true.
Like not even my husband, because they have been my ride or die since day one, and they will be there. Like they were in my life 30 years, 28 years before I met my husband. So they have 28 years on him. So they're so I feel like that's different than parental relationships and friend relationships and other relationships. So but for me, in my relationship with my husband, I shut down. When he does something that upsets me, I shut down. I escape, I avoid it. And then I do bring it up. Before I never used to, but I bring it up later when we're both calm and we've gotten past the situation, so that, I mean, discussing something when we're both heated is never going to result in anything constructive. So I wait. I run away. That's been how I deal with conflicts my whole life. I just run away.
I do that
Run
too.
from my problems.
No, I do that too. Like I shut down, or I used to shut down. I should say that. Like I used to shut down. Now, like if I know I've made a mistake or if I was triggered by something, like I'll own up to it like the next day. I might need a night to like get my thoughts together, like to recuperate or whatever. But like I will make sure to address it because I want to communicate that like that was not cool.
That's so adult of you. That's so much.
Yeah, but I'm trying to be an adult because I'm also like I've played the games. Like I played that whole like I didn't have a voice card, and that didn't get me anywhere. So like now it's like my voice does matter, and like my perception of things is real too, right? And so I think like with my past relationships, I would just like I don't do well with like loud voices.
Yeah.
If you yell at me,
You retreat.
I retreat. I'm like a hermit crab. Like I will go back into my shell and I will not come out. And like I think
it's your trauma.
Yeah, it's a trauma, but it's like now I'm learning to kind of collect my thoughts and be like, that really wasn't cool. That rubbed me the wrong way. And so I value communication, but I also understand that not everybody is a communicator.
So what advice do you give to your clients when they're having a hard time communicating? Or what advice have you gotten?
What's the point you're trying to make? So, like, my thing is, like, I always try to simplify it now. Like, what's the point you're trying to make? And will saying it help you feel like you've tried everything or, like, you've put yourself out there? And if not saying it makes you feel worse, then you just have to kind of, like, figure out, like, what's going to be better for me. So, like, for me, like, I say to them, like, write it out. Talk to your friend, text it to yourself, like, and if that doesn't work, then like, what's my point? Like, I'm trying to make. So like, if you and I got into a fight, knock on wood, that doesn't happen. Yeah. But like, if we got into a fight, I'd probably be like, okay, like, let's talk it out. Like, we're adults. Okay. But I'm also just like, I have to meet you where you're at too. So like, if I message you and say, hey, let's talk, and you say no, cool. But like, let me know when you're ready.
Yeah.
Because I also think, like, when you value friendships or value relationships, like, you should want to, even if, like, you break up with someone, like, but you value, like, the friendship or that person, like, it's a bottom line respect. Have a conversation. Don't be immature about it. Like, you can be friends. You can be in the same room if you want to be, depending on, like, what happened. But, like, just talk, clarify, because there's so many things that go unsaid that, like, cause so many just different misconceptions, and then you have, like, all these people that you're talking to that convolute everything.
Absolutely. And so many things get misinterpreted, so it's so important. It's, you know, like, when I text people, I have a habit of, like, putting, like, I text, like, I space out, so I have a period at the end of every sentence. I didn't realize that made people upset. And I found out, and I had a friend who'd be like, why do you text like that? Are you mad at me or something? I was like, what are you talking about? I'm just typing out a proper sentence, you know, like, and she's like, no, because you put a period after everything. Like, I'll ask you something and you'll say yes, but it'll be yes, period. And it's like, she read that as yes, whereas I was like, yes, whatever, because it's just habit. I double space and that automatically puts a period, you know?
Yeah.
So it's
texting.
It's misinterpretations. It's, you know, and even in a physical, like, organic environment, things get misinterpreted. So if you don't communicate, you live with that and you believe that and you turn that into your truth, when that really could be the farthest thing from the actual truth.
Dude, yeah. Texting is, like, the worst and the best, because, like, it's worse because you read things just like what you said, and they can be interpreted in so many different ways. But I find that texting, like, I can actually, like, write out my feelings better than I can say it. Like, like, when I'm, because I'm a writer, right? So, like, if I write down my feelings, like, that's actually what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
But it's really hard for me to say that, like, in person.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to get better, which is why I'm like, okay, like, I'd rather talk in person versus, like, the phone or texting, but it's still hard.
If I avoid confrontation like the plague, I do not like confrontation. Yeah. And that could be simple as, let's talk it out. To me, that's confrontation. I don't do it. And I'm better, like you, I'm better at writing. I can write out my feelings to the T, but I cannot verbalize it. I'll start crying.
That's what I cry.
Yeah.
Like, okay, but I also feel like this, like, I've never cried as much as I have this past, like, year when I'm talking to, like, my friends, because, like, I don't cry in front of my friends.
Yeah.
I think I've cried in front of you once or twice, but, like,
I don't think I've ever seen you cry, but yeah.
Really?
No.
Oh, that's surprising. Well, I've cried a lot this year in front of some friends, and, like, it's because I just get so frustrated that, like, why can't they understand, like, what happened? But it's more so, like, I never communicated how I was feeling until it bottled up. And so now I'm trying really hard to, like, be able to, like, speak my mind.
Yeah.
But I also think, like, that journey for me has been, like, just say it, but it's not always the right environment to say it. Mm-hmm. And so I have to work on, like, trying to be like, okay, like, let's talk, but let's talk at a later date. Like, because that, like, I went from, like, not being able to talk at all to be like, let's talk.
Yeah. That's true. I've noticed that growth in you. And that's such a empowering new ability, I feel. Do you feel more empowered knowing that you're better at communicating and you're able to get those words out instead of just bottling it up inside?
I think I think there's, like, an insecurity to it of, like, now people, like, who have known me for a long time don't know what to do with, like, me communicating a lot more.
That says more about them than it does you.
Yeah, no, totally. But it's still, like, an insecurity, like, oh shit, should I, like, kept my mouth shut? Like, if I didn't say this one thing, like, would the direction of something be different? But I also know that, like, I've invested so much into me that, like, I'm not willing to, like, be somebody. I'm not willing to dim my light for somebody who can't see that, like, this is still healthy. Even, like, you can be triggered. Like I said, if you're triggered, I think I said this in the last episode. If your triggers are always going to be there. Yeah. If you can own up to your triggers, move forward from it, and communicate, like, hey, like, that was not cool, or hey, like, this triggered me. That's what life's about. It's not about, like, hiding a part of what you're feeling because you're afraid that the other person is going to, like, not be cool with it.
Absolutely. You shouldn't have to minimize who you are for other people's comfort.
Yeah. And I feel like, you know, when we became friends, I think a lot of people were just, like, awkwarded out by it. but I'm really proud of us for not letting like them dim our friendship, because now here we are like 8 years later.
Yeah, I agree completely. I concur. I feel like also I want to like prove them wrong to spite them. Like, okay, well, if you don't think that's possible, well, let me show you. Let me show you what I can make possible. So
yeah, but I also think like, you know, like when you're talking about communicating and stuff, like we've communicated, I think, so well because our friendship wasn't based in the same city.
Yeah.
For like 7 years.
The entire, like, yeah, my entire marriage.
You moved no longer than that, Bush.
Yeah, my entire marriage.
Yeah, because like you moved straight away and then I moved. So like we were never in the same place longer than like a day or two.
Yeah, if we didn't reach out to each other, we would have no friendship.
Yeah, like I feel like FaceTime was like our only like form of like connection.
Yeah.
Which is funny because like you have to communicate. And we both suck at it.
I know.
Which is so funny to think about. Like when we're in like with our families, we're both like so different.
I'm so different. I have so many hats. The sister hat is so different from like the other hat. So I wear. Yeah. But that's normal too. That's completely normal.
What's one thing you would change about your communication?
Just be better at it.
But like what? Like specifically, what's a goal for you for like 2024?
To be able to confront people when I'm upset at them without crying.
That's a good goal.
Let's see.
We will stay tuned for
Let's
that.
see. Yes, stay tuned
for that.
But I think that's good for communicating, for the communication episode.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good way of kind of like, you know, 2023 is almost ending, so you got to put that effort in.
Not a big resolutions person, but yeah, that can be my...
I'm a big manifester, so I'm manifesting that you
I'm big time, man. I love I really firmly believe in manifesting, but I don't believe in just like New Year's resolution. I'm going to make this like I don't believe in diets. I believe in a lifestyle change.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle change.
So let's make this, this will be the new Bushra from moving forward.
Bushra 2.0, 3.0, 4.0.
Yeah. Hopefully I never have to confront anybody.
Well, no, but you will, because that's life.
It's natural.
We disagree on things. Yeah. And then I tell you, like, hey, this is what I think, and you say, well, this is what I think. Like, when I'm being dumb.
Yeah.
Like, when I'm being a girly girl, you tell me.
I do. I yell at you.
But I need that because, like, I get in my head, and, like, but then sometimes when I'm not actually being a girly girl, you'll be like, dude, why are you blaming yourself? Mm-hmm. So, thank you for that.
You're welcome. I'll always be here to yell at you when you're acting crazy.
And I'll always be here to soften you up when you're acting
Thank you. I need it.
Yeah. All right. Well.
All right, guys.
It was nice talking to you today.
Feel free to communicate with us on what you thought about this episode.
DM us. Like, I think it would be really fun if like you guys DM'd a topic that you'd like to hear about.
Yes.
So we can talk about our last episode. You can follow us on
TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. We're welcome your comments.
Yes,
observations.
Because we have one more episode before 2024. So
yeah,
tell us what you want to hear about.
Well, let's end December on a high note, Bria.
Yes, let's do it. You do you, boo.
All right. Bye.
Bye.